So the new NBA season will be tipping off coming up very soon. And when you talk about the rollout of new sneaker models, I appreciate what we've been seeing so far. You got Nike hitting us with the new Ja 3s. Those are really dope. Converse rolling out the new Shea 1, a sneaker which I'm still looking to get my hands on. And then, of course, you have Adidas basketball, which I guess we could give Adidas props for kind of making some of these other brands, I guess you could say, step up their game. They've been getting a lot of praise as of lately as far as like their output, of new sneakers, innovative models over the last few years or so. So as we head into the new season, it looks like Adidas is making some moves as well behind the scenes, as they've just announced Tracy McGrady has signed a new endorsement deal with the brand. So when you think of like that early 2000s era of Adidas basketball, of course you had those Kobe models, which he used to rock early on in his career. I remember Gilbert Arenas being signed to the brand, and then of course you got T-Mac, which if you guys weren't around back then, at one point there was a conversation of Kobe versus T-Mac. Of course, this is before Kobe went on to win like 5 NBA rings and have his whole career that he had. And then, of course, you got T-Mac, which although he's a Hall of Famer, it kind of felt like his career was like maybe like set back, by all the back injuries and everything. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. Back then, I was more of like a T-Mac type of guy. So definitely a lot of memories of these old retro T-Mac models, which I definitely remember the T-Mac ones when those originally dropped. The T-Mac 2s, of course, during his days with Orlando. But if we're being real, like around the T-Mac 3, not even gonna lie, things are getting a little bit foggy as far as my memory. I do remember them T-Mac 5s, of course, during his time with Houston, but I got no memories of them T-Mac 6s. So as far as these potentially coming back soon, do you guys feel like you would be interested in these sneakers as far as like a retro model? And with these being an official T-Mac collaboration, do you guys feel like that makes the sneaker more enticing? Because remember, currently Adidas is dropping like these retro Kobe models, or at least the sneakers which Kobe rocked, during his time with Adidas, but they aren't officially endorsed by Kobe, as of course, they are currently signed with that Nike sneaker deal. So what I'm trying to say is, do y'all feel like these official collaborations, like Adidas bringing back T-Mac, make these models a little more enticing for you? Honestly though, like, while I do appreciate these sneakers and the times where they released, I really feel like they're a sign of the times. And honestly, I don't think anybody's gonna be going too crazy for like some retro T-Mac models, but I'm not mad at it. I'm sure Adidas got so much money that they could just like throw it around like this. And when you talk about like Kobe, speaking of Kobe's, of course, they've been dropping some of those retro Kobe models. They've also created their own like alternate kind of updated line with the Infinity line. And then it looks like coming up here, spring, summer of 2026, it has been confirmed we are gonna actually see the Crazy 3 gonna be releasing. Which, when you talk about this sneaker, I remember back in the day, if I'm not mistaken, these never actually officially released. So this is an interesting one. This is the sneaker, of course, which then went on to inspire the Yeezy 500. So let's see where Adidas takes things after this, because after the Kobe 3, there pretty much wasn't anything else after that. So we'll see where they take things as far as like their retro basketball sneakers. Now, as far as the present, of course, you got Anthony Edwards, which the AE1 you got to credit for kind of being one of these new models, which really shook things up as far as in the industry. I think they released at a very pivotal time for Adidas, which they were coming off the whole Yeezy line. Everybody was waiting for the new Fear of God basketball model to release, which it felt like that was like 2-3 years in the making. And then you had the AE1 kind of just drop out of nowhere. People appreciated the minimalistic but yet futuristic design. And then, of course, it released at a time where Anthony Edwards was also a rising star in the NBA. So the AE1 went on to have a whole bunch of accolades and everything, such as Complex's Sneaker of the Year in 2024. And then, of course, you have the follow-up here with the AE2, which it felt like, honestly, like there would be nothing that could live up to the hype of the AE2. This model got notoriously bashed upon early leaks, but as they've officially just rolled these out during this little Anthony Edwards China trip, seems like this is a model which people are rocking with. So I wish nothing but the best for the Anthony Edwards line. Got a whole bunch of colorways set to debut coming up this NBA season, and they're also kind of shaking things up a little bit, dropping some other Anthony Edwards models, such as like there's supposed to be an Adidas Anthony Edwards Superstar coming out this season. So that's a really dope look, man. And can y'all imagine if like let's say Anthony Edwards like has another huge season? I feel like that would just be another better look for the Anthony Edwards too. So these are cool. Let me know what y'all think about those, and what colorway are y'all rocking with the most. And of course, when you talk about Anthony Edwards, you can't forget to add James Harden, which remember, he was over there kind of holding down for Adidas before Anthony Edwards was over there. But I think the 7 was one of the big pivotal moments when you talk about the Harden. They went on to drop the 8, 9, And then we did have a little preview here of the upcoming Harden 10, which these pretty much just look like the natural evolution of the 9. At this point, you know, James Harden's kind of in the later years of his career. So I think he's kind of just like settled into where he's at right now. And he's just going to continue to keep dropping new models, which these ain't bad, right? Some a little crazy looking, right? And then as far as like the future of Adidas basketball, someone that I think they should definitely focus on, of course, they got Dame Lillard over there, as well as other athletes. You got Donovan Mitchell over there, which them dudes are going crazy right now. But you also got to think about the future. Jalen Green, which is signed to the brand. I know he just got traded, you know, over from Houston over to Phoenix. So that one's kind of a wobbler. I mean, I feel like, you know, him being one of the young up-and-coming dudes in the league, he's got his own kind of like personal style. He's always in the media. I think he's going to be an interesting look for Adidas heading forward. So far, he hasn't had his own signature model, which I don't feel like right out the gate they should be like giving everybody their own signature sneaker. But he's definitely one to watch for, you know, depending on how things go over there in Phoenix. I mean, they got a little good setup going right now, you know, with Devin Booker over there right now. So that could be a potential, you know, big mover in the league next season. We'll see how things play out for him. But being as a young up-and-coming star in the league, new situation, I think this is definitely one for Adidas to maybe invest in, you know what I'm saying? Give some of the same energy that they're giving like an Anthony Edwards, a Dame Lillard, a James Harden, because I think he has a lot of potential future in the league. So drop your feedback down below. Adidas basketball, bringing the T-Max into the mix. Let me know if you guys would rock any of these upcoming models. You got the AE2, which is going to be debuting this season in a strong way. I guess those should be dropping coming up really soon. And then, of course, you got the Harden Volume 10. So let me know what you guys think about the moves Adidas basketball is making coming into this season. JATV, until next time, stay safe, stay blessed. I'm out. Love.